guys, today we are at the Battle of Bannockburn. Now we can go inside. It's so cold in Scotland. We're now at Scotland in England. Let's go inside now. Before I keep on busy. Oh, it's nice and warm inside. Let's see what's inside here.
Glad we have a chance to talk for tomorrow.
They're more likely to flee than fight. They do not have the numbers, the power, or the courage to face us in battle.
And my father was guardian for him in the struggle against old King Edward. But then, was almost murdered in a feast. An impostor. Please! How could God fail to act against a man who committed murder on a high altar? And how could I fail to get back that which is rightfully mine?
I'm talking to a knight.
They do not have the numbers, the power, or the courage to face us
I'm
in
talking
battle.
to a knight.
After my father was murdered by Robert Bruce, Greyfriars Kirk and Dumfries, I was sent with my sisters to England for safety. There we were taken in by the old King Edward, and we were treated as his own children. Now that my ally Edward, the present king, has brought together an army to reclaim Scotland, my mission is clear. To win back the land and title that is rightfully mine, and avenge my father.
I want to take different one. I want to do this one.
Commander, sorry, I was
Sorry,
late.
Commander. I'm from
The
Burr
victory
Castle,
tomorrow will be
the
dreadful.
last
We
English
can plunder
conquest in
something worth our
Scotland.
while to take back home to
I
Wales.
serve Sir Henry de Mundy,
Bach.
but I want
That is,
one
as
day
long
to
as
be
there are
London
enough of us
knight.
archers in the
Be
army.
as strong,
to
as
success.
brave as my master, to fight. The country people paid for a truce with Robert Bruce, so we could not leave our garrison in Berwick for fear of being ambushed and attacked. But when the truce ran out, our men went on a raid into Scotland, captured about 30
I am
people
sent
to
here
hold
by
for
the
ransom,
English
took
lords,
300
now
cattle,
ruling in Wales
4,000
after old
sheep
King
for
Edward's
food.
conquest.
Still, there are many rumors of treachery from the locals.
I command a group
We
of
must be
20 men
careful what we
to settle
say.
Wales,
I'm not sure
renowned for
who
their mastery of the
trusted.
longbow. Providing there is no such dispute between ourselves and the English, as there was on the eve of Falkirk, we will not stand on the sidelines and remain determined. We will assist in any way we can
I've been
in order
having
to
my
make a
master
swift
prepare
return home.
and looking after his
And
horse.
then,
But I'm your common servant. I'm a member of the Knight.
Now I'm seeing the war. Look at this. Can you see it for realistic? Can you see it realistic?
Either side of the old Roman road, which the original English plan was to march up on and kill the Scots in the meantime. But now they cannot do that. They cannot form up and using their numbers to their advantage to overwhelm the Scots. So they had to choose what to do. They cannot go straight ahead, so they have to choose whether to go towards the west or towards the east. The west side is not too tempting for them because of bogs and hills, so the landscape will terribly slow them down, and they are in a bit of a rush because the deadline is the 24th of June and it's already the 23rd. But they decided that, okay, so that was enough for one day, let's just move to camp on the cars, and the two streams, the Bannockburn stream and the Pell stream there, will protect them from Scottish raids, as well as providing plenty of water for men and horses. But what they didn't expect, that the next day, before sunrise, maybe as early as 4 o'clock in the morning, the Scottish army lined up on Balkiderick Ridge. So to their surprise, they were actually under attack by the Scots. They didn't see that coming at all. But they're very brave knights, so they're fighting anyway. That's when the Earl of Gloucester, the guy in the fancy gold armour, died. Because the Scots could basically cut this bit off and close down this end of the cars, and they could start pushing back the English soldiers further back and killing everyone they could. Because the English army made a mistake. It seemed to be an ideal camping place, but it's actually absolutely backfired on them. Because by moving to the cars, they trapped themselves between the two streams, so they couldn't form up. Again, there were too many people crammed in a too little area. And of course, they didn't expect the Scots to attack them, so that was completely logical from their point of view. But what happened? So very soon there is panic in the English army when they realized that the Scots basically chasing them and throwing away their heavy armor and their weapons. They tried to save their lives, and for that they had to cross the Bannockburn again, because they didn't know the landscape. They didn't know which way to go, which way to run away. So they tried to leave the same way they arrived from. But the Scots were chasing them, so in that panic and chaos, the English soldiers pushed each other as well. And after moving to camp to this area, that 18,000 people of the English army, plus their horses, plus the supply train, trampled through this area. So it was overture. The English army will appear from here, just like they did in animation, unit after unit, division after division, because it's a large one, so they wouldn't even fit on the map, or wouldn't even fit in the room. So they will appear here, and the Scots will be standing in here, obviously in their way, trying to stop them. So it's the King of England that needs to get to the castle if you want to win. But watch out, because the Scottish army will be there to stop you. There is a shortcut to victory, however, and you might want to consider that. If you manage to kill the enemy king, you will win immediately, and that's game over for the other team. Okay? So watch out for the little crowns on the units, on the map. Okay? But as the Scottish army is outnumbered in our game as well, then the Scottish army will have traps in return. So it's a little bit of a help for you, sir. This is how the traps look like. There you go. So you will have 2 of them. So timer on it. So you will have about 5-10 seconds to decide what to do. But don't worry, I try not to enforce it unless it takes really long for you to make a decision. In which case, I will do it for you, and I'm just going to attack the nearest enemy. Okay, so if you have a good plan, don't hesitate. You can move or attack. You can do it within this white cloud, this white area. This is your moving range. It will always change depending on your position on the battle map, or depending on what kind of unit you've got. But I will tell you that anyway.
I want to say something, please.
The shouting lines pushed forward, and Edward's army had no room to manoeuvre.
We did a lot of
The
war.
crush became so bad that Edward's army fled across the Bannockburn. The burn was steep, and many died trying to make it across. So many that, after a while, the burn could be crossed with dry feet. A shocked King Edward had to be dragged by his horse's reins from the field. Edward fled to Stirling Castle, but was denied entry. He was chased east to Dunbar, where he escaped by ship to England. Edward's baggage train, now undefended, was plundered by the victorious, allowing more survivors to flee the field. With thousands lying dead on the battlefield, there was valuable armour and weaponry to collect. The encampments were dismantled, leaving very little trace. Many English knights were captured and their lives spared a ransom. An exchange of prisoners ensured the release of Elizabeth, who was being held captive. She was brought to York for her release.
Oh, York.
Following the great victory, the Scots took the war to the English. 4 years later, Edward's queen, Isabella, was repeatedly nearly captured in the same city during a raid far across the border by the victorious forces, who had found a new confidence in striking out across northern England and also with English supporters in Ireland. All of which was an attempt to pressure Edward into negotiating with them. There were some who never forgot how the king took the throne. The Pope had excommunicated Scotland in an attempt to stop the fighting, and this needed to be addressed. 50 Scottish nobles gave their support to a letter declaring Scotland as an independent nation and one that should be recognised by the Pope. All the while, some of them were plotting to kill the king and put John Balliol's son, Edmund Balliol, in his place. Still, the traitors were severely dealt with, and eventually France and the Pope recognised the king. In contrast, south of the border, in 1321, Edward faced rebellion. His barons were angered by his new favourite, Hugh Despenser the Younger, who masterminded the king's triumph over his rebellious cousin, the Earl of Lancaster. The new regime was unpopular, tyrannical and corrupt, all of which served to take Edward's attention away from Scotland. In 1324, the future of Scotland became more clear because of the birth of twin sons to the king. David was born and lived, the next generation of Scottish royalty. England's monarchy was in trouble. Edward once again thought he could do exactly as he pleased. Queen Isabella abandoned her husband and with a lover, Roger Mortimer, began to plot his downfall. And so her son, Edward III, came to the throne, while her husband died a mysterious death. In 1328, Queen Elizabeth of Scotland died. I, Robert Bruce, am now very old and very ill. But today, a treaty was sealed at Edinburgh, which sees it agreed that Scotland is an independent nation, although there can never be any guarantee that this war will end for good. My son, David, will rule Scotland.
I just finished playing and I won the battle.
Cheers, folks. Enjoy
Bye.
your
You too. Have a nice day.
Bye.